community leaders from law enforcement, from the judiciary, from county government, from the criminal defense bar, the state attorney, and to issue a report on how to reform our jails so we could accommodate our jail population without taxing taxpayers even further. That report was a success, and today our jail is able to operate as a model of efficiency in one of the most admired jails in the country. I continued my work on behalf of children. I chaired the Howard Phillips Center for Children and Families, the #1 provider of services for abused, neglected children. I was on the Governor's Blueprint Commission on Juvenile Justice, and I led the statewide children's campaign called the 5 Promises to Children campaign. In 2004, Mayor Crotty, Mayor Dyer, and the chairman of the Orange County School Board faced a crisis. And that crisis was the state grades had come out for our schools, and we had no less than 13 F schools in our community. And they wanted to appoint a blue ribbon panel on education to study our public schools and make recommendations for the reformation and improvement of those schools. Those 3 leaders, a Democrat, a Republican, and the chairman of the school board at the time, had to agree on a chairman for that blue ribbon panel of 24 community leaders. And they came and they asked me to chair that effort. And we issued a report with 123 recommendations in it, that most of which have been implemented and that have led substantially to turning around the perceptions and the quality of Orange County Public Schools. That led to my running in 2010 for a position that the voters had created in this state, in this community, a one-of-its-kind position in the state, a countywide elected school board chairman position. I won election to that seat, and in these last 7 years, I've had the privilege and honor of leading the 10th largest school district in our country, a school system with an over $3 billion budget, a school system which is the 2nd largest employer in Central Florida and the largest provider of transportation services and the largest provider of food services in the entire country. And we've worked hard while on the school board. First and foremost, we've turned around the perception of the school district. We've won the Broad Prize for Urban Education as the #1 school district in the country. We've become an AP Honor Roll district for 3 out of the last 6 years. I started a customer service initiative which led to us improving how we treat the parents who entrust us with their children's education, and that has led to us winning the Governor Sterling Award for operational efficiency and customer service twice in the last 4 years alone, only the 2nd school district in the 27-year history of that award to ever win that award. On top of that, we have built 49 new schools. We have renovated another 108 with the support of this community, and we're on our way to opening another dozen schools in the next few years alone and renovating 40 more schools. Very, very proud of the work our school board and our superintendent have done. And I said when I ran for that position in 2010, the most important job I had in front of me was hiring a replacement for a superintendent who had served there for a dozen years. We hired Dr. Barbara Jenkins, and she has proven to be a superstar in her field and is widely lauded as one of the best superintendents, not just in Central Florida, not just in Florida, but in the entire country. I share all this with your viewers because I believe that we need proven leadership at the helm of county government. We need leadership with a track record. We need leadership that understands that sometimes you have to fight for what is right. I'm perhaps proudest of the fact, well, school board chair, that we've shown a willingness to fight when necessary. When we found opposition to locating an high school, a relief high school that we knew was needed in West Orange, we were willing to fight for that high school and fight for the rights of public education to have a high school built for that community. We've recently taken on the Florida legislature over House Bill 7069 in the courts of the state because we believe strongly in local control of our public schools, and we need that type of fight in the mayor's office. I will close this by sharing with you my vision, because it's one thing to talk about what you've done in government. Perhaps it's more important, in fact, it's far more important to talk about what you intend to do when elected mayor. I have a very aggressive agenda. First and foremost, I think we need a continued emphasis on crime. We are the premier tourist destination in the country, if not in the world, yet crime is still a driving concern of those in our neighborhoods and those in our tourist corridor, and I hear it time and time again. We need to understand that Orange County is going to continue to grow. I know that emphatically as school board chair. We added 6,000 new students this year alone in Orange County Public Schools. We need to embrace growth, but we also need to manage that growth. We need to make sure that we only allow growth where we have established infrastructure. We need to make sure that we protect our cherished natural resources, and we need to have lines in the sand beyond which we will not allow growth. We need to understand that our communities and our neighborhoods need to be part of growth decisions, and we need to truly listen to them and their concerns before we allow growth to go forward. I'm a bicyclist. I have bicycled literally from Seattle, Washington to Bar Harbor, Maine, across our entire country. And because of that, I have a real love of having bike paths in the community, having walkable neighborhoods. As school board chairman, I know all too well how many of our neighborhoods don't have safe walkways and pathways to school. And although it's a mundane pedestrian issue, pun intended, to many in our neighborhoods, we've got to have adequate sidewalks for our children and adequate bike paths. There's no reason that somebody shouldn't be able to get on a bike in our community and bike all the way from the East Orange Trail to the West Orange Trail without ever leaving a dedicated bike path, and that's something that we will do. We need to tackle gridlock. We are going to continue to grow, but we can manage that growth better on our roads. We can manage it through a better system of timing our traffic signals, planning for our road networks better, figuring out where we need to add asphalt when necessary, and building a better mass transit system. And one of the agenda items that I perhaps am most excited about is we're going to tackle multi-generational poverty, but we're going to do it in a way that hasn't been done before. For 25 years of public service and involvement, it's occurred to me that we're constantly tackling the symptoms of poverty, and that's important. It's important that we have food banks. It's important that we have shelters. It's important that we have social services. But we need to start attacking the root causes of poverty. And I would suggest to you that the root causes of poverty are jobs. We need to have jobs for our working poor. We need to bring the jobs to this community for our working poor. We need to have a transportation network with frequent, regular bus service so our working poor can get on buses and can make it to those jobs. And we need to have a regional network of job placement and counseling offices throughout this county to help the working poor who want to work their way out of poverty get those jobs, because we certainly need the labor in this community, as we've seen, and we have the folks right here in this community to fill those jobs. Lastly, I will close with this. I think it has occurred to many of us that hurricanes in Central Florida have become the new normal. I lived in this community for 20-something years and never experienced a hurricane until Charlie, and now in the last 10 years alone, we've experienced multiple hurricanes. We need to harden our infrastructure. We need to bury our power lines. We need to do a better job with our drainage systems and our retention ponds. We need to understand that we are going to continue to get hit with hurricanes. But in a community with our resources, it is inexcusable for folks to be out of power for weeks on end after a hurricane or even a tropical storm. We live in a wonderful community, a community that I've been proud to raise my wife, raise my children. I'm going to pay for that one. Believe me, I haven't raised her. But I've been proud to raise my children in. But we can do even better, and we will do better. So I want to thank the media for coming out here today. I especially want to thank my friends, my family, and supporter. We're excited about this campaign. I'm excited about this campaign, and I'm especially excited about the dialogue we're going to have in this community, both with my opponents and with the community as a whole, about what we want for the future of our children and the future of our community. Thank you very much for coming today. We'll do one-on-ones after this. Thank you all. All right, thank you.